In this video series, we're making this fun scene that you can see here with a scary monster and man. And in this video, the last of the series, we're finishing off with the fog and the lights to finish off our scene. Okay, so here's where we got up to last time. I'll just bring out that window a bit more and zoom in a touch. Now currently for the lighting, I'm still in material preview mode. So if I use the middle mouse button and strafe across the menu at the top here, there's material preview mode there, and it's lighting the scene with this HDRI. So it's nice and bright and vivid in the scene, lighting it with this background. If I jump to rendered view, you can see it's using the emission materials for a bit of light and the light in the scene just at the top here. If I left click on that, oh, I can't select it. That must mean I'm in edit mode still. Let's just use the middle mouse button to strafe across this menu. Yes, I'm still in edit mode for the torch by the looks of things. So I'll change back to object mode there and select the light. So if I press G to grab, you can see the influence of this one light just here. And I'm currently in cycles, as you can see across here. Let's see what Eevee looks like. So there's Eevee. And that doesn't look too different from cycles for this particular scene. But what you might find is that when you move around the lights in cycles, your computer struggles to keep up. I've got a fairly high spec computer with a good graphics card, so this is finding the task relatively straightforward, but it's still taking a moment to update and give me the feedback I want. If I jump back to Eevee, it's much faster and more responsive. The difference you will find between the render engines is that sometimes the emission materials don't give off quite the same amount of light in Eevee as they do in cycles. But for now, I'll keep with Eevee because that's more accessible to everybody out there. But remember, you can always change across the cycles if you want to try out that look for the final render. So before we add any more lights to our scene, let's add the fog. There's a couple of ways of doing this. The easiest way is to create a big cube that covers everything and then make that a fog material. So I'll press Shift A to add, mesh, and then cube. I'll come to top view, zoom out a bit and scale that up so it covers the scene. So around there, and then to side view and just move that into position so it covers everything. Obviously we've got a problem now that we can't see everything in our scene. We can actually come down to the object properties just here with that big cube selected and scroll down slightly to where it says viewport visibility or where it says viewport display, and change that to bounds. So it'll only show the bounds of the box. We're not seeing anything inside yet. That's because I need to change the material for this object. So with the cube selected, I'll give it a new material and I'll call this fog. I'll delete the principled BSDF. So I'll select that and press delete and then Shift A to add. So that's the same shortcut key or the add menu up here. Under shader, we've got principled volume. So very similar to the principled BSDF, but this one's a volume shader. So I'll put that there and I'll hook it up to the volume. The principled BSDF was hooked up to the surface. This one hooks up to the volume and it's clearly labeled there, so it should be fairly straightforward. And now we can see some volume in our scene. And I'll just resize the cube slightly in side view. So G to grab and the Z, bring that up. Use the 3D cursor as my pivot point. So move my 3D cursor to here, change to the 3D cursor with period key, scale in the Z and bring that down until it just covers the lights there. Okay, so it's a bit too foggy, as you can see there. So in the principled volume, I can change the density down to maybe 0.1, and that's looking a lot better. So now's a good time to pause the video, catch up with me adding your big box of fog. Now we can start figuring out how we want our lights to look. This one here, for example, and that's actually with this cube here, is a bit awkward to select. So remember, you can press Alt left click and you can choose which objects in front of your mouse you want to select. So I'll select the light here. This light looks really uncomfortable. It doesn't really make any sense. So let's use that one for the torch. So I'll go to side view with 3 on my numpad and bring that down to the front of the torch just there, and then into top view and make sure it's lined up. So around there looks good. I'll press period key to zoom in on that object and then come around to the front here and let's take a look. Okay, at the moment it's a point light. If I go down to the lighting properties here, the object data properties, which changes to a lamp icon, I'll click on that and we've got a point, sun, spot and area light. For this one I'll choose a spotlight and you can see how that might work at the moment. I'll need to rotate around the x-axis 90 degrees. Oh, I've still got the 3D cursor. So period key, cross to median point, R, X, 90. And now we're roughly pointing towards the monster. I need to press R then Z to make sure it's closer though, and R then X to move it up a bit to somewhere around about there, I think. And that's looking quite fun. I'll change the color to a more orangey color, somewhere around there, and that's looking great. Now there's a few other options within the spotlight which are quite useful. You can change the angle just here and that will narrow your beam or widen it. I'll have it fairly wide so it gets most of the monster in. Maybe not the eyes though. Somewhere around there might be good. So the eyes are a bit more in darkness. And then I can change the blend as well, and that will make my beam less precise basically. So maybe a little bit more blend. The other thing that is useful is the radius. If I bring that up, it makes the light a lot softer. In this case, we want it quite hard light, as it's known. So I'll bring the radius right down to 0, and you can see that beam there, and we can see it because of the fog. If I click on my fog object and press H to hide, you can see it doesn't have the same effect without the fog. And if I press Alt H to undo the hide command, we can see the fog having a great effect there. So now it would be nice to have lights coming from our actual street lamps. So I'll duplicate this one. And again, I'll press Alt left click to select the light, Shift D to duplicate. I don't want to do Alt D for a link duplicate because I want to be able to change this one independently of this one. I'll go to front view and I'll just move that across until I find my street lamp, which is a bit awkward to see. So let's go to side view instead, move that into position there. Rotate it around so it's pointing downwards, and let's go to front view so I can move it under the lamp just there. And I rotate it so it's very slightly pointing towards them, just there. Let's go to side view now, and this time I'll press Alt D in the Y-axis to copy it across just to here, and I'll rotate it very slightly. The reason I want to use Alt D there is because I can change this now to, let's say, 500 or something, so it's slightly dimmer than the torch, just so it accentuates this character, and both of them will update. And I could even change the color to a more sort of yellowy color or something like that, maybe a little bit more towards white in fact. So the torch looks a bit more yellow, and then we've got a bit more white light coming from there and yellow coming from the torch, and our scene's already starting to take shape. So you might want to pause the video there, catch up with me, adding in the lights. Okay, so we're almost there. We just need a little bit more light in our whole scene, I would say. At the moment, as I was saying with the material preview mode, which we can see here, the background is influencing our scene, and it's using this HDRI. Well, the same thing happens if I go across to rendered view. The background is actually lighting our scene slightly, but it's a dark, dingy grey, which isn't really making much difference to our scene. To access the background, we can use the shader editor here, and I can click on this object drop down here and change the world. And you can see the background node just here, and it's just grey, and it's got a strength of 1. I think it's always better to change this across to a nice bluey colour, and maybe I'll bring the brightness down a bit. It might be a bit too dark at the moment, but I'll add in a light in a moment. So a nice bluey colour makes it a bit more vivid and interesting, as if the moon is lighting up the scene. It's quite a stylised look, but I think it looks good. But we still need a little bit more light in here, so I'm going to add one more light. I'll press Shift right click to move my 3D cursor to this position, Shift A to add, down to the lights, and this time I'm going to use an area light. I'll press G to grab and move that up. I really like area lights. They're kind of my go-to light really, because they light from this big square here. I'll just go to top view and then bring it over the whole scene, and I'll scale it up a bit as well so it lights up lots of our scene. I'll change the colour to a nice bluey colour again, and I'll bring the power up to something like, let's just start with 5,000. That's really vivid, so that's a bit too much, maybe 3,000. And it's looking quite fun. I'll just bring the blues across so they're a bit more in that blue section there, and I'll bring the power down to 1,000 now. I think that's more like it, and I'll make it come from an angle perhaps behind our monster just there, and it's looking quite fun at the moment. I think I need to bring up the intensity of the lights in the scene, so maybe our lights just here. So remember, Alt left click, choose those lights, and let's turn those up to 1,000. That's looking good. Maybe a tiny bit more. Now that's looking much better. If I turn the overlays off just here, that will turn all the black lines off of my lights and things like that, so I can really see what my scene looks like, and that's great. I'll just click away from that light object so we can't see it anymore, and our scene's looking really good there. So you might want to pause the video, adding in a big blue area light at the top there. Okay, so the scene's looking really great there. I'll just bring back my overlays and I'll explain one more thing about the area light. So let's try and click on the area light there. Remember, you've got the outliner as well. Oh, I have accidentally added this to the monster layer, so I will need to do a bit of organization in a moment. The one thing with the area light that's quite useful is you can scale it up like this and it softens the light. So it naturally softens it. You can do that within here as well, so you can change the size in here, but it's much easier in the actual scene. And like I was saying, that softens the light, so it makes it slightly less powerful when it's like this, but it creates a very soft light with less shadows, and it will fill in the scene a bit more. So a nice big area light gives a nice fill light for our scene. So the last thing to do then is some compositing. Now, if I jump to the compositor now and click on the new button there, we've got our rendered layers just here, much like the node editor, which is going to our output here. The only problem is that I've got no render to effect. So we actually need to render our scene first. So let's go back to layout mode so we can position our camera. It's a bit easier when we got a big viewport like this. So that's why I choose layout mode instead of the shading workspace. I'll go into the camera, turn on my lock, and then just start moving my camera into a nice position. So it's somewhere around here where we get the lights in the scene. We've got the old man on one side, the beast on another. Somewhere around there looks good. Perhaps I'll rotate around a touch more. That's the only thing about having two lamps. It's kind of in the way and it sort of disrupts my view of our character here. Might bring it around more, maybe somewhere like there. So that's great. Now let's actually render this out. So again, just across to the render settings, I'm in Eevee. If you are in cycles, you might want to just make sure you've got a time limit on your render of, let's say, 3 seconds, so it doesn't take too long. But I'm going to change back to Eevee and render out with F12. And remember, that's the render button up here, render image. And because it's Eevee, it's super quick. So that's great. And it's looking quite nice already. I'll close this down and I'll go now to the compositing workspace. Now, because I've rendered my image, there is actually something in the rendered layers now, which is good. I find it a bit distracting to have the render in the background here. So I'll turn off backdrop. I'm actually going to bring out a new window. So I'll move my mouse to the top corner here where the crosshairs appear, left click and bring out a new window like so. Incidentally, if you want to get rid of a window, you move your mouse into the middle and you can right click just there and join right or join left and so on. I'll just press escape to come out of that menu though. I'll change this window up the top left here to the image editor. And notice if I just zoom out a bit, we've got the viewer node just here. So I'm going to change at the top here to the viewer node just there so I can see the finished result. Now in Blender 5, the compositor looks slightly different and you can have these cool looking effects here, like for example, chromatic aberration. I can click and drag that in here and then I can click and drag it in the middle of my render and output. So if I drag that in there, it'll hook up and you can see some chromatic aberration now, and you can increase the factor if you want to make it look a bit crazy. If you want to delete them, make sure you press Control X. That dissolves it rather than deletes it. Then you'll keep that line there. So Control X is dissolve. And you can add some of these interesting effects in, like the vignette. I'll bring that in and then insert that in there. We've got a nice vignette around our scene, which I think works really well here. So I'll leave that in and zoom out a little bit and I'll grab both of these, G to grab, move them across. And the effect I really want is the bloom or the glow. And that doesn't appear in the bottom here. So we have to press Shift A again, down to filter, and it's under glare. Remember, you can search for these things, but it's kind of fun to see all the filters you can use as well. But the glare node is the one we want. So I'll drag that in there and you can see at the moment it's on streaks and you can see some streaks of the eyes there. I'll just turn down the strength of that because I quite like the streaks in there. So we've got some cool streaks there. Let's zoom out a bit and I'll duplicate this node. So Shift D to duplicate with that node selected, bring it across slightly and it will insert itself in there. And I'll change this one to bloom. And this one, if I turn the strength up, will make a little bit of fog glow come out of the eyes there. Now my lights aren't showing much glow because the emission texture didn't set very high. So you might want to go in and change that emission texture, but I'll let you do that on your own. So that's quite fun. And we've got that nice glow there. We've got our lights set up. So if I press F12 again, that will finish the render and add those effects on as well. We've got this really fantastic looking scene. And at this point, you might want to close that render down and try out cycles, see what that looks like. Render my scene again. Takes a bit longer to render, but that works quite nicely. And then it takes a moment just to kick in with the effects. We've got that nice glow and look. Not that much different from Eevee really, but still looking great. So the last thing to do then is just to go back and double check that you're happy with your scene in terms of the camera position, the lights. And you might want to go to rendered view, perhaps out of camera view, and just do some adjustments to the lights and things like that to make sure you're really happy with your scene. Remember, in the shading workspace, if you want to change the world tab, then you must make sure that you've got your world settings here, and you can go back to object if you want to actually change any of your materials in your scene. So if I, for example, choose my monster here, I could increase the roughness, for example, or make them really shiny. So you can test those things out and have a play. So hopefully you've enjoyed the series and you feel you've learned the fundamentals of Blender 5. If you want to take this further, then do check out the playlists on my channel and my courses. All the links for that are in the description. Thanks for watching and taking part. Please also share your work with me. I love to see the results. My social links are also in the description. If you've got any questions, then do comment below. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.